Hello, bridge builders! I'm here with some exciting news. The first volume of interviews is now available on Amazon.com. The link can be found at eatlunchandboardgame.com. I promise that all proceeds from sales of this book will go right back into this podcast and channel. Whether that is new and better audio equipment for the podcast, or video equipment for the YouTube channel, or even more games to review, the money will not be wasted. Click over to Amazon and get your copy of Eat Lunch and Board Game, the first course today. And thank you for supporting the show. This episode is sponsored by Fortuna Games, STL. Owners Will and Ashley have a quaint shop here in St. Louis City. They have lots of Magic the Gathering and Pokemon cards on hand, as well as board games and accessories, like card sleeves that I am always ranting about. Use coupon code ELABG10 for 10% off your purchase. If you don't see what you're looking for on their website, fortunagames.net, just email them and see if they can get it for you at fortunagames@gmail.com. Fortuna Games, for all your lunchtime board gaming needs. In this episode, I am joined by designer James Cole. He designed a game at work, play tested it at work, and the theme is, get this, office politics. So how could I not have him on the show? I have played his game, Thrown Under the Bus. I thoroughly loved it, and I backed it on Kickstarter. You should check it out for sure. The link is in the show notes. James and I talked the usual questions, and he has some amazing game suggestions that you know I'm going to look for to add to my currently decreasing shelf of shame. Thanks for listening. All right, welcome back to the Board Game. I'm your host, Adam Collins, and with me today is fellow designer and board game nerd James Cole. James, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. We had a few technical difficulties due to some internet outages that has slowed us down a little bit here on getting this going. But as fans of my show know, it's not the first time I've run into these problems. So, James, you have a game currently up on Kickstarter called Thrown Under the Bus, the Game of Office Politics.
Yes.
And I've played this game, one of the review copies, mainly because, my podcast is all about board gaming at lunch, and your board game is about office politics. So I thought I'd give it a shot, and I have to say, it was great. I loved the office politics portion of it. Like, you see the backstabbing and well, you did this to me, so I'm going to do it to you. Whether it helps you or not, you feel better getting revenge.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, thank you for that beaming review.
So how did you come up with the idea?
Actually, strangely enough, over lunch. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not doing this just to butter your toast. I'll give you the long but still abridged version. Years ago, I worked at this place, to be nameless, but I was really good at my job. So I got promoted to shift manager, and then I was really good at that job. So I got promoted to a new area, and I was really good at that job. And eventually it came to the point where I got promoted, and I moved from being on the concrete to going into and standing on the rug, or sitting on the rug, if you will. And the second I did that, everything had changed. And it blew my mind. It wasn't about how good I was at my job, or, how hard I worked. It was some weird metric that I just didn't understand. So, like, getting ahead there or being seen as a good worker had nothing to do with actual work. So, I relayed this to my fellow coworkers who used to be, I used to be in the same departments with, and, they had previous experience with this, and I didn't. This was my first office job. So on lunch, we would play various different games, and we started joking around about, making a board game ourselves called Pink Slip. And the idea of Pink Slip was to get, coworkers fired. So we joked about it. We made some like notes, but in the end, we had jokes. That's all it really was. It was a concept with a lot of jokes. So fast forward to several different offices later, and a place that I worked at for over a decade. And there, like the office politics were real, and this stuff was vicious. And it was just automatically assumed that if you came up short on something, you were just going to find a scapegoat. And I refused to play it, and I had worked remote for this whole time, so I figured I'm still going to do a good job. I'm remote, and it's somehow going to insulate me from these things, but it didn't. Eventually it came to a point where somebody basically wasn't doing their job, and this was a superior, and tried to use a lie and involve me in this lie and say it was my fault. And this was to the owner, and I just blurted out why it was a lie and everything. And yeah, less than 2 weeks later, I was shown the door. So
that's unfortunate.
yes. No, it actually was very fortunate. Now, the timing was kind of unfortunate because this happened right before the pandemic started.
Oh.
In my previous position, one of the things I did and what I was kind of good at and known for was that I did a lot of trade show booth setup and then managing when the booth was set up, as well as some marketing for the booth.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so when on your resume you have all these cool things about all these different shows you've done internationally and the leads you've generated at those shows, that means absolutely nothing for like 2 years. So yeah, I had a bunch of time on my hands, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna revisit Pink Slip because I had some bitterness, and quickly I realized,
I can see the bitterness. I can understand where that came from.
Oh yeah. So I revisited Pink Slip. I had like a few tiny little notes and realized, it was just way too simplistic and didn't really get at the core of, what was there. So I started getting in deeper and started playing with mechanics and realized it definitely had to be, a take that game, but it had to be more than that. Like if you overexerted yourself, you would pay for it. It had to be a balance. So a few weeks later, Thrown Under the Bus was born, and I've been gunning hard at it for the past 3 years, and now it's up.
Yeah. So the mechanic, I love the fact that it's kind of a deck builder, but kind of not, because you're kind of building a deck together as like the game.
Yeah. Right.
You
yeah, I like to call it I call it deck management because you do deck build a little bit, but you have to manage the cards coming in and going out. That's why I call it that.
Yeah, no, I think that's right, and it's an interesting way to play because you want to get new cards in the game because you want to get those higher number cards in the game. But in order to get them in the game, you may have to backstab somebody here.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes to get it into the game. But then the whole thing turns into a math problem, which again I think is great because you're trying to really figure out the best time to drop your card. Because at the end you have this tableau that you don't know because it's all face down. You have this tableau, and if you flip them over and resolve them, they either have numbers or there could be a math problem to it. So it could be like ×2 or, ×0 or something. And now all of a sudden, all the work you've done is zeroed out.
Yeah.
And and then I think my favorite part though are the chits that you can play, that you have to place when you put a card on somebody else's, into somebody else's tableau so that they know.
They know who did it, right?
I don't want you to forget. I gave you this divided in half.
Yep.
So you're welcome.
Yeah, and like during
Yeah.
playtesting, there was a lot of people, especially like fellow designers. They were like, "This slows it down a little bit," and I was like, "I 100% hear what you are saying, but this is a core. It's a core concept within the office, and knowing that you have to know who did that to you. You know, that
I
is
I don't think it slows it down at all. I think if anything, it builds tension. It
oh,
builds
it yeah,
fun
definitely builds tension.
because it's like, what did James give me? You
Right.
know, and James gave me this on day 3. Do I go ahead of it or behind it? Did he
Yep.
get, because if you did a time, like a time, like a divide by 2 or something like that, or if I can get you to a -5, and now you got to multiply that by 2, man, you just killed your own score,
Right.
and
Yep.
it's that, it's that, I don't want to say cerebral because it's not, but it makes you think, and it's like, oh man, and you're trying to get into everybody else's head, but putting that shit down reminds me who gave me this card, and have I wronged them yet? Because I
Right.
think the more I've wronged them, the more likely that card is going to absolutely hammer my score.
Right. And then there's my favorite move, which is the old fake out, or even the double fake out, where you smile at somebody and you put that card down, knowing they have like a reverse or a discard this card, and then they go and end up screwing themselves, and then you just smile innocently, and you're like, dude, I was literally trying to help you,
I
but
was,
you don't
I,
want
I
my
was
help.
trying.
I see that.
You were in last place, man. I was trying to help you out. I do like how you start in the middle of the track, so you can lose points right out of the gate,
Yep.
and you can fall off. You can fall off the end of the. You can go to 0,
Yep.
and but the object of the game is to play the office politics and work your way all the way around the board. And every time you pass a certain seat, you get a promotion and stuff. And I like the Employee of the Month first token. That's also fun. I think you did a lot of fun stuff that just made the game a lot of fun, and gave a lot of interesting decisions in the game. Because that's another thing in game design is you got to make, not only do you have to make decisions, you want them to be interesting and
Right.
meaningful. And I think that all the mechanics build to these
Right. I hate
decisions. And yeah,
the mechanic of a game where it's like you have the obvious decision, and you're like, why am I even playing at this point? Like, if there's not
yeah,
interesting decisions, then I don't feel engaged. Just like, you know what, I'm gonna go get something to drink. You let me know when my turns come up, and you could just play this card right here because it's my only option. I don't like those kind of games.
yeah. And that's it's interesting you say that, because that was some of the feedback I got on one of the games I was working on, was that, yeah, there's decisions to be made, but if you don't make the best decision every time, like the obvious, and if you don't make the best decision every time, then there's no decision, and you
Right.
have to take it, and so it's like, yeah, okay. Well, I kind of knew that was I kind of figured that was a problem, but to hear other designers be like, there's no interesting decisions here,
Right.
and like, then you take it back to the drawing board and try to figure it out. But I love the fact that you came up with this with coworkers at lunch. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a good story. I mean, that's how
Yep.
I play test most of my games. They're with my coworkers at lunch.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I got one. I just literally got the stickers in today, so downloaded the template. So I'm gonna start working on my tiles, and I told my
Okay.
coworkers to be
Nice.
ready next week. Next week we're gonna start playtesting a game. They're
Yep.
like, "What is it?" I'm like, "I'm not sure yet. Right now it's a mechanic.
All right.
I'll make a game out of it, yeah, but I need right now. We just got to test the mechanic." So do you play games at lunch currently? Or are you
Uh,
remote?
well, I have no. I did the opposite of everybody else. Like before the pandemic, I was remote for a decade. So I was actually that company's first remote employee, and then yeah, and the pandemic hit, and now I'm one of those suckers that had to go to work the whole time. But We do play games on lunch, and when we do, we actually stream it because I got a nerd job that I love. So,
Excellent.
yeah, we play board games or Dungeons and Dragons to highlight our products. So, yep,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. So,
That's incredible. We do not live stream ours, which is good because I think everybody's seeing all the bad decisions I make during gameplay.
sure, sure.
So, what would be your go-to 30-minute game trying to play for a lunch half hour?
Oh, without a doubt, hands down, never a question. Plagues and Pestilence, which
Interesting.
I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's an old school game, and
I have
it's
not, but I've written it down, which means it will eventually wind its way up onto my shelf of shame until I play
ooh,
it.
good luck, my friend. Used copies of the reprint version are about 150 on eBay right now. So when
Well,
they're up,
and well, this podcast I make so much money. Look
there
how
you
much
go.
I
Right?
made.
Yeah, you're rolling in that big podcast movie. But I'll give you
Yeah.
the quick of Plagues and Pestilence. It's a game where basically everybody controls a medieval city or a dark ages city, I guess, and the plague's eventually going to hit, and you're going to lose people, and you're going to try to stay in control. But the mechanics are super easy. Like someone's like, "I don't play games," and you're like, just watch us for 30 seconds, and you got the game. So it plays quick. It's brutal. It's a very take that kind of game. And if you get outed right away, you kind of don't get upset about it. Where, the game doesn't take too long. So you can be like, all right, let's just do another round. And you're going to then try to get your revenge. So I'm pretty sure if you paid attention, you could see that as also one of the influences for throwing in the bus. Like I wanted it to be easy to learn, and I wanted it to definitely be a take that game, but one that you didn't take too serious and didn't get butt hurt about, if you will.
But no, I mean, if it plays in 30 minutes, that's not a bad deal. Because
Right.
then if you're out, you're not out that long.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
That to me is always the thing. Like, okay, I'm out, but how long am I going to be out for?
Right. Right. That's
The
also why I
plague
put
and pestilence.
the fired but not forgotten mechanic
Yeah,
in my
I
game, which
forgot you
is
called it that. I forgot you called it that.
yeah, it
You're no
is.
longer in the board meeting, but you're still there in
Yeah.
spirit.
Oh, you're the specter of your deeds still lingers, and
I
I
did like a lot of the flavor text. That I bet you had a lot of fun writing that.
yeah, I'm not the best writer, but I did chuckle to myself, and I've been trying to ratchet it up. Like I've talked to some people. I got a buddy that man, he is a buzzword bingo master, and some of the quotes on the cards are his, and it's just like this guy can sling it with the best of them. So
Well,
he was an
so
inspiration.
yeah. So one thing I also want to mention is that you have backer levels to be drawn into the game. You can actually have your face
Yep.
put on a card as part of the game,
Yes.
and that's really cool. We
Yeah.
did that with ours, so it's a fun way to become part of a game. Fun way to
Right.
and then don't tell anybody when you're playing the game, and then all of a sudden you just kind of pop up in the game.
Right. Right. Oh man, I didn't even think of it that way. Yeah.
Oh man, what about a 60-minute, a 1 hour game?
A 1 hour game. A new one that I've really liked is not new, but a newish kind of version. Is probably King of Tokyo Dark.
Oh yes.
I mean, it's fun. It's quick. Again, I like the little extra mechanic they added with King of Tokyo Dark. So for whatever reason, I was always good at rolling ones. So like that mechanic just helped out my game significantly.
I can imagine.
So
Oh man,
yeah,
no, I King of Tokyo Dark Edition. Oh my goodness, yeah, love it. I love King of Tokyo. I love King of New York. I love all King of Tokyo and New York stuff.
yep,
I still haven't had a real good chance to sit down and play King of Monster Island yet, but it's on my list of games to play for sure. I just haven't gotten
yeah,
to
me
it.
too. I also haven't.
Ugh. The King of Tokyo Dark. That came out right at the beginning of the pandemic, actually,
Yeah.
because they had this thing where if you bought it off Yellow's website and told them what friendly local game shop you usually shop at, they would like give the credit to your store or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
So I managed to secure a copy from my store, so I got
Nice.
it and went and picked it up, and yeah, it's the what do they call it, the Rage track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's
that's a
called.
fun mechanic. But I
Yeah.
don't roll enough ones and twos, so I don't climb it as quick as you do. What about a, hidden gem game? Game that you
Hidden.
don't feel gets enough attention.
Besides Plagues and Pestilence.
Well, I mean, obviously, Plague and Pestilence, which
um,
I did look up real quick, and that is not going to be a game that will be entering into my shelf of shades anytime soon.
well, I always bring it with me. If we see each other at a con, we'll play a couple hands, and then you will have to buy it, and you'll be like, "Damn it!"
Maybe you're better off not meeting.
For hidden gems, another hidden gem besides Plagues, I'd have to go with another real old school game, which is Wabbit Wampage. Which,
Wabbit
yep,
Rampage.
it is. It's basically Looney Tunes with like a Euro style kind of like puzzle board and punch out chits for all the characters and stuff. Like if they made this game right now, it would cost you hundreds. It'd have all sorts of cool minis, and people would lose their damn minds over this game. But the idea is you got teams of wabbits, and you go through the four seasons, and one person plays the farmer, and you guys just battle it out. And each season has a different objective. So springtime, you're planting carrots, and summer you're harvesting carrots, and then in the winter the hunters show up, and you're just all out killing wabbits left and right. And then winter comes, and the wabbits want to get revenge, so they destroy the farmers' houses. So, and it's
Their
at the end where
houses?
what's that?
They destroy their houses?
Oh yeah, yeah, because your rabbits can. There's like a crane and tractors, and there's a mailbox where you can go and get your Acme bombs and jetpacks and robots.
This game sounds incredible. I don't know how I didn't know this game
Oh, it
growing
it's an
up.
incredible old school game too, and man, it's
Oh my god.
also helped influence throwing in the bus a little bit. Just the funness behind it and the cartoonness.
Nobody's houses or cars get destroyed and thrown under the bus.
No, just
No.
lives.
Just careers are completely ruined.
Yes.
Oh,
Are you looking up Wabbit Rampage?
sorry. What?
I said, are you looking up Wabbit Rampage
Oh, I
now?
looked it up, man. 1985.
Yep.
So, though, surprisingly, it's only like $40, so that's not too bad.
Yeah. Oh, you will not be disappointed.
I'll keep my eye out for it for sure. Sounds hilarious. Looks a lot like same production quality as a lot of those Avalon Hill
Yep.
games, the old war games, and
Yep.
what's the one I have? Awful Green Things from Outer Space.
Yep.
Looks all like that. Now I'll definitely be keeping my eye out on that one because it just sounds awesome, and it is Wabbit Wampage, both W's.
Yep.
Can't go wrong with that. It does say there's a 2-hour playing time, which is kind of weird.
I mean, it can be with four people and some inexperienced players. The people I know, now that we know it, I think it still clocks in at over an hour. So yeah, I guess
Well, it'll
it's
be one of those games I take and we play after hours at work.
sure.
So, how did you get into gaming in the first place?
Uh, well, I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, so we have longer winters,
Go
and
Bills.
there's just a lot more people up there that game. I had an older sibling that we would play a lot of games together. We started with a lot of the old school Milton Bradley games, and then I got
Yep.
exposed to more exciting games.
More exciting games.
Well, like Wabbit Rampage.
And there you go.
In 1983, a friend got Dungeons and Dragons. He got the red box set for his Christmas present, and he was just like, "Let's play this." And I was like, "I don't know what it is, but dear God, that looks beautiful."
Yeah.
So, yeah, ever since then, I've been a hardcore gaming nerd, I guess.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I say that. I say that with love.
Absolutely. So, what is your current favorite game? What game? Where are you located right now?
I'm in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, okay. So, if I made it down to Texas, which doesn't seem likely anytime soon, what is your current favorite game? What game is currently on your table?
Uh, well, I listed off all my favorites, and obviously we'd have to do some throwing of the bus together, seeing as you understand the the dynamics that are office politics. But besides that, uh, man, you know what? I would probably. My friends won't play Smash Up with me, so I'd probably try to rope you into a game of Smash Up.
Oh man, that game's hilarious, especially when you get I think the crazier the combinations you throw together makes for the crazier game.
Yeah, I think I won once with it was like I think it was Vampire Aliens, and
Which is
I
so likely to happen.
oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I won without scoring a single base, and I didn't even try to score bases. I just recycled my people and got points for it. And man, that was it. Like two people were.
Oh, I like to play as the tornado sharks. So you're playing
Yeah,
as a literal sharknado.
right, right.
But yeah, if you get two of them together that can really play well off each other, you can
Oh yeah.
that game. I mean, the only problem with that game is it does tend to lag at times. Like those last few points can take forever to get.
Well, yeah,
'Cause
because you
everybody
start
knows. Yeah,
right stymieing each other instead of trying to gain points.
yeah, exactly. And
Yep.
it's like, man, everybody's on the cusp of winning, and so it's just all about if I can't win, neither can you. And then before you know it, you played for
Yep.
30 minutes and not a point's been scored since.
It's
But
like
no,
football.
Smash Up's good. Yeah.
That last 2 minutes is the last hour.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So when you play a game with a color, do you have a specific color that you like to play as?
Oh, always black.
Always
Yep. I was
always black.
lifelong metalhead as well. Part of also coming from Buffalo, New York. So
That's good. Not a lot of people say black, so it's good to hear.
okay,
I play as red, orange, and then black. That's usually my third choice, but
yeah,
usually I can get red or orange if orange is in the game. A lot of games
right,
don't have orange.
right, yeah. Red's my second.
People are like, oh, I feel like red's very uh, yay red or boo red. Like there's nobody's like, yeah, red's okay. It's always like,
Right.
I take red or I never take red. Okay, fine, man.
Yep.
It's just a color. Let's get this one out of the way. How do you pronounce Klaus Teuber's game, The Settlers of?
Gateway game. Catan.
Catan. Okay, well, it's
Is
like
that wrong? Is Catan
it's
wrong?
it's Catan
Okay.
instead of Catan,
Hey,
but
I'm also going to blame that on my Buffalo accent. So.
yeah. Well, I have decided that all of Canada says Catan.
Okay, we'll
Every
see.
every guest I've had on here from Canada says Catan, and
All right.
Buffalo is right up there against
Oh yeah,
Canada.
we're Canada light. Yep.
That's right. You're not too far from Niagara Falls.
Nope. It is. There's Niagara Falls, U.S., which is a little less exciting, but has much better hiking, and then the Canadian side, which has a better view, but
Has a
more
better view and a whole lot of weird
commercialism.
stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
You like wax museums? Because if you do, Niagara Falls, Canada is the place to go.
Yep. It's that strip is just wax museums, bars, overpriced food, and strip clubs. Yep.
And don't forget Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Oh, and the Ripley's Museum. Yes.
There used to be a WWE store in there too. And
What? That I
yeah,
don't remember.
yeah, I was there. Oh my goodness, 20 years, 21 years ago
Okay.
when I was there. I've been somehow I've always lived in the Midwest, and I've been to Niagara Falls many times in my life,
Hmm.
which is weird, but I have. You never know. It's a beautiful place, but yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there a lot. Went there on my honeymoon. Went there for my buddy's wedding. So yeah, been up to good old Buffalo a lot, which is
Oh.
very very long, boring drive from St. Louis.
Oh God, I
Yeah,
bet.
the drive to Texas would be brutal.
Oof. My friend, you are not lying.
No, I would just fly into one of the mini cities in Texas, which is hilarious because like the main three airports are like not even close together
Nope.
either.
Nope. Not at all.
I'm not joking, man. Texas is huge,
Yeah.
and nothing's close. That's what I learned.
It's it's given me a different perspective on things coming from where I was, but it's weird. It's so big, but yet there's people that won't live there or leave their little microcosm. There's a little friendly, I wouldn't say rivalry, just there's people in Fort Worth that won't go to Dallas, and there's people that are in Dallas that won't go to Fort Worth and act like it's on the other side of the planet, which when you're talking about Texas, it's not even an hour drive, and you're like, man, that's like 1/100th of the state, bro. I don't know what your problem is, but okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've flown into Dallas. I've flown into Houston, and I've flown into San Antonio. That's about it for me. San Antonio is a weird city, man.
I haven't been.
It is weird. I was down there for work, and we stayed right there on the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
And I, probably the second day, second night, we got out of our training or whatever it was, and I was walking with one of my coworkers down the street, and all of a sudden, there's the Alamo.
Right?
It's like right there. Like
Yeah.
you can take pictures of it because it's right there. Across the street from it is a mall. And across the street from it the other way is, and I'm not making this up, a Ripley's, believe it or not. Right across the street from the Alamo. And I'm like, this is nuts. I
Right.
mean, it's not even like, there's a whole grounds inside that is preserved, I guess. You have to go in and everything, but like the actual famous building front that you see everywhere, it's right there on the street. You can just drive by it. Oh, look, there's the Alamo. Remember the Alamo and just keep on going. That was so weird to me, man. And then the Dallas airport, that's got to be one of the most congested airports.
uh, I do believe it's one of the busier ones. It's not Hotlanta busy, but it's pretty close.
Oh, man. My only experience in the Dallas airport is landing on one end and finding out as I landed that my connection is on the other side and I have 15 minutes.
Yep.
Go.
Go. You got to get on
I'm
the
like,
stupid.
no, it was supposed to be 3 gates down. They're like, yeah, sorry, it's in a whole different gate now.
Yep.
Clear on the other side. You had to jump a train and stuff. I'm like, what is happening? Am I still in the airport? That was crazy. Oh my goodness. But yeah, Texas, no, it'd be a heck of a drive from St. Louis, I can tell you that.
Yep.
So anyway, back to Kickstarter. You have a game up
Yep.
to throw under the bus. Do you do a lot of backing on there?
Me, I do. I well, a lot is relative.
Oh,
There's
okay.
yeah. I've seen. I help deliver the Kickstarters at work for the projects we do. So you look at somebody
Oh,
who's a super backer and you click on it and you're like, backed 1,600 projects and you're like, I at $1 a piece, that's still 1,600. And even if you got products from each and each one was the side of like a box of cards, you're talking about a room full of stuff. Like, so I wouldn't say I back a lot. No. not at all. I would say I back the things I like.
There you go. What else you back other than board games?
Board and other like fellow artists
Oh,
when they do things. So I used to do fantasy illustration for some of the role playing games and even some board games back in the day. Well, like a decade or so ago, and I made a lot of friends with a lot of fantasy artists. So when I see they thrown up a project, I do that. You know, if I see a game with a theme I like, you know, I'll back that.
yeah, that's awesome. That's I mean, that's great. Good for you, man. It's yeah. I got a 3D printer, and so I've been backing stupid crap that can 3D print.
Yeah,
You know, and it's like but I think that so that's an interesting new thing that you're starting to see in the board gaming industry now. Like for a while it was the board game. Then you saw this huge print and play market come out, right?
yeah,
Where people will pay you $10 to not ship them the game.
right,
They will pay you to just email them the files and they will build it themselves.
right.
They will make their own cards, supply their own dice, print the board out, mount it or not mount it or however they want to do it. And I kind of got the bug for that. I did a lot of card games and roll and writes and stuff. Nothing too fancy, but I did a lot of roll and writes and print and plays and stuff at home. But now
Yeah,
you're starting to see like you know you can back this level, and then if we unlock it, I'll send out all these STL files for all these really cool miniatures that you can print and put into the game instead. And it's like what? And then now you're starting to see the print and play version is all the PDFs for the game and the STL files for all the tokens.
right.
I'm like, man, I love the way the board game industry is going right now. It is going crazy and in every direction, and I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, I
Like
think.
just this week, I backed a ridiculous uh, dice tower. It's a dice tower that comes in like 4 pieces that you can print at home. And I'm like, it's made like thousands of dollars, and you're like, this guy's a freaking genius, right? This guy is not producing a single product. He's making thousands of dollars to email me files he already has on his computer.
Yep,
Genius.
right, for sure.
Oh man. And it'll probably I'll print it. It looks great. Like I love dice towers. On my Star Trek one over here and all kinds of other nerdy things.
Nice. I was I'm never really a Dice Tower fan. You know, because I feel like if I'm not getting what I need from the dice, I need to change up my rolling style. So
You can do that. You can take out shelves or something.
yeah, no, I need the if I'm handling dice, they need to be yeah. I need the full
They
manipulation.
need to
I need to
know.
yeah,
Those dice need to know who's in charge.
exactly.
And it's never me, I can tell you that. I played a game today that was a roll and write, and man, I got just hammered. Like at the end, I'm like, not just as long as there's a result that's not a 5 or a 6, and all 3 dice came up 5, 5, 6. I'm like, are you kidding?
Right.
Puts me out of the game. Like, come on. Yeah, me and dice. Oof, we don't get along the greatest, but we try. We try. But
All
yeah, I
right.
like dice. I kind of got into dice towers actually because of King of Tokyo.
Really?
My son was 3 and was playing King of Tokyo and beating me regularly, which is awesome. And then, but his little 3-year-old hands couldn't hold those 6 oversized D6s.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say yeah, they are pretty big, so I get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I found on Etsy, which is another good place to go if you want some board game nerd stuff. Went to Etsy and found a dice tower pattern for like I don't want to say it was like $3 or $1.50 or something cheap, and I paid my my $1.50 or $3. They sent me the PDFs. I went to the dollar store, which is now the $1.25 store. Went to the
Right.
dollar store, bought a piece of foam core, came home, built it, and then he's used it for years.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean it's great. It's a very simple thing. It's good for him. You know, now my daughter uses it. So, but yeah. That's how I that's how I got into Dice Towers. My son couldn't hold all the dice to beat me at King of Tokyo. Got got to help him out. So you have any other game ideas on the in the old brain?
Oh yeah, I got one that is basically it's ready to go except for art. Um, I
Sounds like you
decided
got some
to.
connections, man.
What's that?
Sounds like you got some connections though for art.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, basically it's ready to go except for art. But I decided I went with Thrown on the Bus first because I figured it had a little more. I was looking for a little more of a gateway kind of market, you know,
Hmm.
where I was hoping that I'm hoping that people pick this up as like a white elephant kind of present at work, and you know, it'd make a great joke if this pops up at like a work Christmas event or something like that. You know, it'll become awesome, and hopefully other people then buy it. So that's kind of why I went with this before the other one.
No, I understand.
Um, in retrospect, maybe I should have went with the other one first because it is just cards and tokens, so which is
I was gonna ask.
significant.
I was gonna ask about that. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, it's so much easier to make. It would cost, you know, it would cost so much less, and so easy to produce, and I get it out there. So
It's funny you say that because that's why. So when we started Bearded Board Games, it was all for my game, which is a worker placement game that we still have not produced because Fences was a tile laying game with a lot less production complications. We were just
right,
making 2-inch tiles, and we went with 2-inch tiles and some uh, tarot cards and tokens, and that was it. And so, because it was so much easier to produce and not have, you know, all the different things like I had, you know, different color cubes and first player marker and a
hmm,
box that was complicated in and of itself. And it's like, man, I don't think we can do all this, you know. And then even on the simple game, fences, we had it go sideways on us. So, and that was just tiles, like I said, tiles and tarot cards, and it still went sideways on us. So, taking the easier path, we just learned different lessons, I think, than we would have learned going the other way.
sure, right, and you know, I mean, it's doing the harder one first is gonna when I do the other one's gonna be like, yeah, woof, all right,
Yeah, no kidding.
yep,
That's
and I
what
have
we're. Yeah,
beyond that, I have one other game. It's about I'd say three quarters formed. So
nice, nice. Yeah, I just took my son to a chess tournament a couple weekends ago, and while reading a book on board game design, because that's what one nerd does, right?
sure.
Um, a board game idea struck me, and I literally sat down and mapped out a game that we're getting ready to test next week to see if the central mechanic of it makes sense, and if it does, I got a new game to work on. And then was driving with the family on vacation, and another idea came to me, so I slapped down the ideas in the same notebook. So we'll see.
Very
Never
good.
know what's going to happen. You never know when a good board game idea is going to strike you.
Yeah, I got my game notebook usually close at hand as well.
You never want to be too far from it.
Yeah. I mean, I also have a few like crazy notes in my phone that, you know, that I text myself when I go back and look for.
There you go. You're like, what was I trying to tell myself here?
Mhm.
Don't drink tomorrow's coffee. What? Uh, no, I mean, I've got my, I'll text my business partner, and he'll text me, and like he'll be like, "Sorry, man, I just had to unload this on the, I have this idea, and I just had to put it into writing." And I'm like, "Oh, no problem." So I got like this huge message from him that was like makes very little sense to me,
Sure.
but to him, it's like a whole new board game. And then he gets the same text from me, and he's like, "I'm assuming this is a board game idea you have." I'm like, "Oh yeah, man, yeah,
It's gold. It's gold.
yeah." it's always like you're right though. You don't want to forget it. You don't want to lose it.
Right?
So text it to yourself or your business partner, or
Yep.
write it down in your notebook. You never know. It might be the next big thing, the next hot ticket.
Hopefully. Rolling in that big game money.
There you go. The big game money. What if there's a game idea in just that, right?
Right?
A board game about making board games? Not too meta. Too meta.
Yeah, I think a lot of the creation groups, somebody throws it out like once every 6 months, and everybody has a stupid chuckle about it, and then we move on.
Yeah, until the next person mentions it.
Yep. And then we're just like, oh, look at the new guy over here coming in with the old joke.
You won't think it's funny next month when the next new guy says it.
Right, exactly.
You got a good thriving game creation group down there?
No, I'm talking about the online ones. There is one
Oh,
here, and they're kind of more based in Dallas, and I've chatted with a few peeps, but I never really made it over. Um, I basically because once I started this, like it kind of became all consuming. So it was either allow myself a little bit of fun or work on the game. So
yeah.
which is
No, I hear
kind
you on
of
that.
it's unfortunate, but also I mean it's also kind of what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
No,
again,
I
maybe
get it.
that's where the easier one's gonna change my life.
That's my hope. Our next one lined up with an 18 card game, so hopefully that goes pretty smooth.
There you go.
Like it's only 18 cards in a hook box. How out of control can it be?
Right.
It's almost like the game hears that as a challenge. Like here, hold my beer, I'll show you. Um,
Right. Oh God.
Hopefully, it doesn't go as sideways as other situations that we've been in. And I back a lot of games and stuff on Kickstarter, and you see these other people, and I feel bad for them because it's like, dude, you couldn't have foreseen that happening.
Right.
You
Oh,
know, I mean, you could read all the books you want, all the Jamie Stegmaier blog posts you want, and you will still find ways to mess up that nobody's done before.
yeah.
And all you
I
can do is document it, talk about it, and warn people.
Yep. I got firsthand experience with the basically it, at my work. I work at a place called Arc Night. We make flat plastic minis, maps, really cool bases. We've now branched into dice and a bunch of other things. But one project that was pretty much almost all mine. We had some of these prototype bases of they were like mounts. So normally our minis come on a little circular base and it's clear plastic, and we got colored plastics so you could change it up. But we had some prototypes kicking around of like horses and stuff like that, but they were really like bad and abstract. And I was like, we could take these to the next level. And Josh was like, do it. Let's just do it. So I designed a whole bunch of mounts. So you could put your mini on a your normal base when you're in the dungeon or whatever, and when you get out, if you're mounted on something or you have some overland adventure, then you just click your mini into this mount. So we put out a quick little Kickstarter, and all we have to do is cut the acrylic. We order the acrylic ahead of time, we get it in, and I am set to deliver what is, my first Kickstarter collaboration on time. All right. This is going to be awesome. My first one out of the gate is going to be on time. Well, that's when Texas had that freeze. And during the freeze, the tube in our laser busted because the water that was left over in the laser,
Oh
when it froze,
my
expanded
god!
and busted the freaking tube in the laser. And because shipping was all screwed up in Texas for like, man, everything was delayed and behind for like 3-4 weeks. It took us 6 weeks to get a new laser tube, and then the project was late. But we were set to deliver on time, and everything was going to be great. I was so excited, and nobody foresaw that the freeze happening, and then us losing power at work, and then the laser. Even though we drained it, still enough ice was left or water was left in the tube to bust the tube. So I get it 100%. There are just complications. So
Oh
when I
my
yeah.
gosh.
So when I see
That's
a Kickstarter
insane.
going sideways, I try not to lose my mind until you see what's going on, because there's so many things.
I try not to. I try to feel for them as well. Like I've been there, done that. And the only times I get mad is when they say, "Oh, sorry, we're not gonna be able to do it." I say,
Right.
"What?" So I'm
Yeah.
stuck in one right now that's not gonna deliver. Company folded, took all the money, decided they weren't gonna do their last Kickstarter. So, like, well, can I have my money back?
Right.
So, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. So, but I do feel for them, and I'm a part of one right now that just said that there were some delivery issues. I'm like, man, I'm not worried about delivery issues. Like, you'll get me the game when I get it. And
Right.
if I needed it right now, then something's wrong. You know,
Yeah.
I start worrying that I won't get my print and play when or my roll and write when you're like 6 months past due, and it's like, dude, literally just email me the file.
Oh, right.
Dude, it's like I paid you $2. Just give me the file. I don't care how bad the artwork is. I paid $2. Give me the file, and come
Yeah. Right.
on. But that's yeah. I've never heard of a laser tube exploding causing a Kickstarter
Yeah.
Kickstarter delay. But hey, there's a first time for everything, right?
Yeah. For
Hopefully,
sure.
first, last, and only, right?
I hope it's the last friend. Like it gets cold now, and we shut the laser off, and we're over there siphoning out of the tube, and
We got heat trace running down it. We
yep.
got we got extra heaters in that room. That's that is insane that happened. Like ours, we had to switch manufacturers and we had to change product, and it bled us from one over that 1.7 pounds to 2.1 pounds.
Ooh,
And as soon as you cross that 2 pound mark, shipping jumped,
yeah.
and that cost us dearly because now we had to ship out all these things at a higher cost. So we crossed a year, so we crossed the calendar year, so shipping went up, and we
Mm,
crossed a pound, and it was a nightmare. We lost a ton of money on shipping, um, but that was another interesting one that we had all the shipping calculated, everything would have been right
right.
original
Oh,
had our original manufacturing
yep.
company been able to do what they said.
Yep.
So you always find new ways to fail. That's the way I look at it. We haven't made the same mistake twice. We just keep finding new ways to mess up. I mean, even some of these well-oiled companies, they take forever. These big companies even they'll hit their marks. I was a part of one of them. I was like a year late. And I'm like, a year? You're like a massive company. How are you a
Right.
year late? Like
Yeah.
I felt bad. We were months late, and you were a year late. Like what the heck?
Yep.
So, well, James, if anybody want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Um. Well, that's a good question. I mean, I got the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the game has a email sign up, but the email's also on the site. It's thrown on the bus at gmail.com. My illustration page is jamescoleart.com. So it has all my illustration stuff, which is sadly been on pause because of the game. I mean, I guess not sadly, just
It's just been on the back burner for a little
yeah.
bit.
I mean, I got to get cracking. I got 8 portraits to make for the game, so
Unless we can sell all of them.
yeah. All mine are actually sold up. There's still a few open for
Oh,
some of the other guys I got out there, but
there you go. Go to Kickstarter.com, search Thrown Under the Bus,
yep,
get a copy of this hilarious game, take to your office.
yep.
What's the player count on it?
Player count is 2 to 6 players.
Yeah, there you go.
And
Meet other people in your office.
right. And unlike most games, it does not slow down when you get to 6 players. So it actually
No,
plays, yeah,
yeah,
it plays quicker.
yeah, I can definitely see that because yeah, it yeah, it's simultaneous play pretty much. So doesn't matter how many players you have. It's like when you play Seven Wonders, like 3 player and 7 player doesn't change because you're playing simultaneous. So
Right. And
just the amount of turns.
right. And you just don't like and that many people, someone's going to get left alone, and you're not going to be able to protect against everybody. So it allows that allows somebody to kind of sneak up. So the quiet player usually gets a pretty good crack at winning.
Yeah, the guy that's in like third place because the first 2 get attacked and the third place guy kind of slips by.
Yep. A lot of times it is the top 2 players are just get into a tear it down match.
Yeah, I can totally see that. And then the third player guy just kind of and then they win. Well, James, thanks a lot for being on my show, and I hope Thrown Under the Bus makes it. It's a great game, and I think anybody who does play in the office, this is a fantastic game to take in and play with your coworkers. Because it just kind of makes fun
Right.
of office politics, but at the same time, there's a lot of good strategy to it. You can practice your math skills, your basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So, you know, it it really is a good way to spend a lunch hour. It'll give you a lot of good, talking points later, like why did you do that to me?
Right.
I can't believe you did that to me, and
Right.
all that good, all that good stuff. So go check it out. Oh my goodness, it is definitely worth the investment.
Awesome. And thank you for playing it and understanding its deeper concepts.
Well, we had a good time in my office, and I wish I could get more people to have played it with me, but we only had 3 of us. I think it would be better with more people because then more of you could gang up on the leader or
Yep.
really punish the person in last place. Because we were trying to do that at one point, trying to push the person that was in last off the end. I thought it'd be
Man,
funny if we
evil.
knocked her out.
Nice.
It was
I've
brutal.
been the only times I've ever been fired were playtesting and at Gen Con and Origins, and people just lambasted me, and I was like, damn, I told you I wasn't going to play to win, I'm going to play to teach. And they're like, yeah, but every other time we play with the designer we just get steamrolled, so we figured we had to take you out. And I was like, okay.
I mean, fair, rude, but
Right.
fair.
Right. No, it was fun the first time.
A good strategy. Good strategy.
Right.
Yeah. And as always, you can reach out to me. It's elunchaboardgame@gmail.com, elunchaboardgame.com, podpage.com/elunchaboardgame. Leave me a message, leave me a game suggestion, and I'll definitely get around to playing it. And remember, board games build bigger.
When you're gaming, why not be comfy? Go over to supportplayer.org. Click on the cards, pieces, and dice to get some merch. These t-shirts are some of the most comfortable I have ever worn. That's supportplayer.org, and there's a link on eatlunchandboardgame.com.